In this video, we're going to be looking at solving quadratic equations. Quadratic equation is an equation where the highest power of x is x squared. So let's look at an example. X squared equals 25. Now when we're solving equations, we have to do the opposite. So in this case, the opposite of squaring something is square rooting. So on the left-hand side, this leaves us with just x, and on the right-hand side, it gives us the square root of 25. So x equals 5. But this isn't the only solution, because if we think about it, 5 times 5 gives us 25. So that follows the square root kind of rule. But we also have negative 5 times negative 5. This is going to give us positive 25, because a negative times a negative gives us a positive. So what we say is x equals plus or minus square root of 25, or plus or minus 5. When we have an x squared, we will often end up with two solutions, the positive and the negative in this case. Have another look at another example. X squared plus 4x equals 0. Now this is slightly different from the last one. In the last one, we could have just square rooted everything. But the problem with that is our second term here. Even if we square root it, we're still going to have an x term here. So what we do is we're going to factorize out an x. So what multiplied by x gives us x squared? What multiplied by x gives us 4x plus 4. And this equals 0. Now, how has that helped us? Well, we know that if we want something equaling 0, one of these two parts has got to equal 0. That's the only way of making 0, by a multiplication. So either x equals 0 in this bit here, or on the other hand, or x plus 4 equals 0. So if x plus 4 equals 0, we're going to subtract 4 from each side. X equals minus 4. And we have our two solutions. We'll look at a third example. X squared plus 3x plus 2. Again, we can't just square root both sides, because these other two terms here get in the way. And there's nothing that will factorize out to a single bracket. What we can do is factorize out into double brackets. So we've got to look for a number that times together to give you 2, add together to give you 3. Let's have a look at the numbers which multiply together to give you 2. 1 and 2. Do these add together to give you 3? Yes, they do. So in our brackets, we're going to have x plus 1 and x plus 2. So again, we use that same idea. One of these brackets has got to equal 0. So either x plus 1 equals 0, so x equals minus 1, or x plus 2 equals 0, so x equals minus 2. And those are our two solutions. For our final example, we're going to have some negatives involved. X squared minus 5x plus 6 equals 0. So again, we're looking for two numbers that add together to give you minus 5 and times together to give you 6. So let's look at the the numbers it's timed together to give you 6. 1 and 6. 2 and 3. But we've also got to include negatives as well. -1 times -6 is going to give you positive 6. And -2 times -3 is going to give you positive 6. Now, which one of these add together to give you give you -5? Last one. So inside our brackets, it's going to be x minus 2, x minus 3 equals 0. Again, one of these things has got to be 0. So either x minus 2 is 0, so x is positive 2, or x minus 3 equals 0, so x equals 3. And we have our two solutions.